Let me begin by breaking the first promise I make to you. I am going to use the word silence. I am going to use it again and again. And every time I use it, I am handing you a lie not to deceive you, but to expose the lie while it is still in your hands. Because here is what they will tell you. They will say the word is a pointer, a signpost. That silence, God, awareness, these are humble little fingers, pointing past themselves toward the real thing. So ask them. Ask the one question that ends it. What is it pointing to? Can you describe what it points to? Can you say it? Hold it? Set it down on the table between us? You cannot. And a pointer aimed at something you cannot name is not pointing at all. It is just a word, sitting there, and you have mistaken the word for the thing it pretended to indicate. That is the whole deception. The words do not point, they replace. You are handed God, and you stop, because now you have the word and the word feels like enough. You are handed awareness, the seeker's favorite, the one everyone clutches as the final answer, and you turn it over like a coin and call the coin the treasure. The name does not send you further. It ends your walking. It gives you something to believe so that you never have to look. A name is not a finger pointing at the moon. It is a painting of the moon, hung over your window, so that you never open it. So when I use the word silence, understand what I am doing. I am not pointing. I am handing you the counterfeit on purpose so that I can take it back in front of you, and you can watch your own hands come up empty and see for yourself there was never a coin at all. What I am bringing you to has no name. It never did, and the names were never pointing toward it. They were standing in its place. First, what it is not. Let us clear the ground. When most people hear the word silence, they think of the absence of sound, a quiet room, a forest at night, the pause after the music stops. They think silence is what is left when the noise goes away. That is not what I am speaking of. That silence, the silence of no sound, still belongs to the ear. It is still an experience happening to a listener. You are still there, noticing that it is quiet. You are still standing in the doorway of your own mind, saying, "Ah, how peaceful, how still." And the moment you say that, you have proven that you are still there, and the mind is still moving, and nothing has actually gone quiet at all. The silence I mean is not the silence of the ear. It is the silence of the mind. And those are not the same thing. A man can sit in the loudest city on earth, traffic and voices and machines crashing all around him, and be utterly silent within. And a man can sit on a mountaintop in perfect stillness, no sound for miles, and his mind can be a storm. The outer noise was never the problem. The noise was always inside. The trap of names. So forget the ear. We are not talking about sound. We never were. People have been reaching for this thing for thousands of years. And because they are human, because the mind cannot bear to leave a thing unnamed, they covered it in names. They called it silence. They called it the void. They called it God. They called it Brahman. They called it Atman. They called it awareness, consciousness, the absolute, the ground of being. Beautiful words. Holy words. Words men have died for and built temples around. And every single one of them is false. Not false because the thing does not exist, it is more real than the hand you are reading this with. False because it cannot be described to exist. The names do not describe it. The names describe the boundary of the mind that is trying to reach it. That is all a name ever is the edge of the thinker, pretending to be the thing. And the cruelty of it is that the names work. They satisfy. A man with the word in his mouth feels no hunger to look, because the word has already fed him a counterfeit and called it bread. He will defend the word. He will fight you for it. He has never once tasted the thing, but he will die for its name. So when I tell you we are going to stop giving things names, I do not mean it as a clever technique. I mean it as the whole work. Because the deepest thing the mind cannot do is comprehend that this has no name. The mind hears no name and immediately tries to make that into a name. The nameless, the unspeakable, and off it goes again, building, labeling, describing, doing the one thing that keeps it from ever falling silent. You cannot name your way into silence. You can only stop. Now sit with me. Let me give you something you can do. Not believe, not memorize. Do. Sit down. Be still, not the still of the body, Though let the body be still too, but the kind of stillness where you stop reaching for the next thing and simply watch. Watch your thoughts the way you would watch birds land on a wire. Don't chase them. Don't argue with them. Just watch. A thought arises. It runs its course. And then for a moment, before the next one comes, it ends. There, right there. That is what I want you to find. Between the ending of one thought and the beginning of the next, there is a gap. Most people have never noticed it because the mind moves so fast, one thought leaping onto the back of the last, that the gap seems to vanish. But it is there. It is always there. The thoughts could not be separate things if there were nothing between them. And what is in that gap? It is not another thought. It is not a feeling. It is not a sound. Remember, we left the ear behind. It is not even you noticing the gap, because the moment you notice it, you have already filled it with a thought called noticing. Whatever is in that gap is the thing I keep refusing to name, because the instant I name it, I have handed you a coin again, and you must throw the coin away to feel the gap at all. Not the silence of avoiding sound. The thing that was there before the first thought, and will be there after the last one. The thing the thoughts arise out of and fall back into. The thoughts are the waves. That is the ocean. And you have spent your whole life so fascinated by the waves that you never once felt the water. Then who is left? Now go deeper. Go where it gets dangerous. If you could stay in that gap, if the thoughts genuinely stopped, not for a half second but truly stopped, I want to ask you the only two questions that matter. What exists? And who exists? Because here is the thing the seekers do not want to hear. The one who has been seeking the me, the I, the person with the name and the history and the spiritual goals, that one is also a thought. It is the longest running thought you have. The one you have repeated so many times you mistook it for a self. But it is a thought. It arises and falls like all the others. So when the thoughts stop, truly stop, the thinker stops too. The seeker is not standing there triumphant in the silence, having finally arrived. The seeker is gone, because the seeker was only ever made of the very thinking that has now gone quiet. And what is left? I cannot tell you. Not because I am hiding it, but because there is no I in that place to report back, and no it to report on, and no word that survives the crossing. Anything I say about it becomes one more counterfeit, and we are done with counterfeits, you and I. This is why the mind fears silence and fills every empty second with noise, with scrolling, with planning, with worry, with prayer, with seeking. Not because silence is empty, because the mind suspects, correctly, that it will not survive the silence. And it is right. It will not. That is not death. That is the end of a misunderstanding. So I will stop naming it. I have written all these words to bring you to the place where words end. That is the strange work of this kind of speaking. You build the ladder only to throw it away. So let me say it plainly, one last time, and then let me get out of the way. It is not silence. The word silence is a lie I used to get your attention. It is not the void, not God, not Brahman, not Atman, not awareness. Those are coats hung on a body that was never there. It is not the absence of sound. The ear was never invited to this. The names were never pointing. They were standing in the way. It is what is here right now, underneath the thought you are about to have about what I just said. Don't have the thought. Just for a moment, don't. There. Do not name it. Do not feel for it. Do not think about it. Help me to grow the channel, Beyond the I Am. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who may be seeking the same silence.